Hello. Welcome. Hi. Welcome, everyone. I am Maria Russo. I am the children's books editor at the New York Times Book Review. Yes, I know I have the best job in the world. It's especially exciting when I get to meet some of the authors who make such a difference in our children's lives with their books. And the author we have today is especially amazing. I think she's someone parents and children will be excited to see. The parents, of course, because Danica McKellar is also an actress, made a big difference in many of our lives on the Wonder Years, later on the West Wing, on the Hallmark Channel. We all have lots of memories of her. But I'm going to go out on a limb and say more important is the work she's done to help children feel comfortable with math and love math the way she does. Because of course, in addition to all her other accomplishments, she has a degree from UCLA in math. She is a co-author of a theorem in math. She's really an overall amazing person. So let me just not waste any more time. I just want to tell you about her math book program for parents. If you're not aware, her books cover birth to high school geometry at this point. The program is called McKellar Math. You can go on her website, mckellarmath.com, and really see all the books that she's done. Includes really baby books, books you can read to your newborn. Bath Time, Math Time is the most recent, bringing numbers into bath time. Another very recent book is for ages 6 to 8. It's called Do Not Open This Math Book. So kids, do not open that book if your parents bring it home. There it is. And many more for the, I won't tell you the titles of the teenage books because they're very appealing to teenagers. We have a young crowd here. And so I'm so happy to welcome a really important person in the world of children's books and the world of math, Danica McKellar.
Hello, everyone. How are you? Oh, this is wonderful. I didn't know I was going to have this. That's great. I'm so glad to be here. This is my first time at this particular festival. It's not my first time in Washington, D.C., though. I would say the last time I was in Washington, D.C. speaking to a crowd, it was not at this festival, but it was in the year 2000 in front of a subcommittee of Congress. And in some ways, that visit to Congress was the beginning of McKellar Math. I'll tell you about that in a minute. First, I want to back up. How many of you guys remember the Wonder Years? Wow. Okay, that's great. I forget, I actually don't need this microphone. It's psychological. See, look, I can go like this, and you can hear me just as well. So how many of you guys are afraid of math or have ever been afraid of math? Hey, this is actually a crowd that's not too math-phobic. That's amazing. I was afraid of math during the time when I was on the Wonder Years. When I was in the 7th grade, that's when the show started. And I still remember, and my mom is here in the audience, she still remembers me coming home and crying because I was afraid of my math homework. I'm sure most of us, I'm actually thinking that a lot of you guys didn't admit to being afraid of math at some point in your life. I'll rephrase it. How many people remember ever taking a math test and having fear, like that prickly feeling in the back of your neck? Yes, okay, that's more like it. Thank you for being honest. So when I was in the 7th grade, I had a really interesting time because my teacher did not explain the concepts very well. It was before I really understood that math is a language and it needs to be translated, otherwise it remains foreign and scary. Now, midway through the 7th grade, through this year of terror for me, our teacher got switched out. Got a new teacher. And guess what happened? Do you think math got a lot easier all of a sudden? Yes, The same exact topics that had totally scared me suddenly made more sense, like so much more sense. And I'll never forget this one quiz that I took, and it was that we'd just gotten the new teacher, so I hadn't really gotten her influence yet. And like I was just saying with you guys, you remember that feeling of being terrified and just like nauseous. You're sitting there in front of the test, and you're like, I don't know what's gonna happen. That feeling of being totally out of control. And it looked like Chinese to me. And I had studied so hard, and the bell rang and it was still blank. And I couldn't understand. I mean, I was like trying not to cry, and this new teacher, Mrs. Jacobson, all the people were like getting up and turning in their quizzes and leaving, and I couldn't move. I was just terrified and horrified and embarrassed. And she let me stay for the entire recess. And just her having that kind of faith in me, I started like writing some stuff down. Like I started like at least getting some stuff on the page, and I ended up getting a C on that quiz, which was some sort of miracle. But that was like a huge turning point for me, where I realized that my perception of my experience and my perception of the math and the way math was being presented was so much a part of the equation, not to like make a math pun. But anyway, that taught me that the way you present math was huge. So that was a huge turning point for me. I ended up loving the challenge of math and going to UCLA and getting a degree in mathematics. Now, before I got my degree, the wonder years ended right at the end of high school. So have you guys heard about child stars and some of the stuff that happens to child stars sometimes? And right, yeah, they end up, I mean, it's sad. And it's not across the board, by the way. Those are just the stories that make the news. But sometimes, you know, people fall into hard times, and I'll tell you why. It's a self-esteem issue. So when you're done with your big show, you start to wonder what your value would be if you didn't have that show, because everywhere you go, that's what people talk about. Imagine if when you were like, I don't know, 12 years old, you were on the soccer team and you scored this amazing goal, and everybody talked about it, and it was the winning goal, and everybody was like, yay, that soccer goal, that was amazing, you scored, you made the team win. And then the next year people are still talking about it, and it's like, okay, that's cool. And then like 5 years later, they're still talking about it. Then 10 years later, they're like, aren't you the one who like scored that soccer goal? You're like, yes, that was me. But I do other things now too. Anyway, for me, mathematics gave me this sense of self because it was hard, right? Math can be challenging, it can be really hard. But when you stick it through and you just like keep trying, it gives you this sort of confidence that comes from feeling smart. And I got addicted to that. And it really helped me get through those like post-child star years at UCLA where everybody every day said, hey, Winnie, where's Kevin? You know, it's like, he's not here. And my name isn't Winnie. So, but let's face it, you don't have to have been a child star to struggle with your self-esteem and your sense of self as a teenage girl. And that is also part of what inspired the books. So let's fast forward now. I've gotten my degree in mathematics, and it became well known that I had gotten this degree in math. It was like made headlines, Winnie is a math whiz. But the cool thing that came from that is that I was invited to speak in front of a subcommittee of Congress about the importance of women in mathematics. How many of you guys live here and work in politics in any way, shape, or form whatsoever? Just curious. A little bit, okay. So there was a committee who wanted to raise money, wanted money from the government for scholarships for women in math in college. And they invited me to come speak and testify about the importance of women in math because I was sort of the celebrity math person, math girl. And I read their 100-page report that they sent me. I read every detail. And it was clear in their report, and this was a lot of reading, it was pretty dense. I did research, I took this very seriously. I mean, I was like gonna serve my country or something. And that's how I thought of it anyway. I didn't think of it as a commission that was using me to try to get more money. I didn't think of it like that at all. In fact, just the opposite. So I read this report, and it was clear to me that college is too late. It's too late by then. I was a girl in college, And I was a professional mathematician for a summer. I helped to prove a new theorem, and I got a stipend for that. I got money for that. And it wasn't hard because I was female. It would have been easier if I'd been from an ethnic minority group as well. So I'm like, you guys, this is not where we need the money. And I'm telling this to Congress, not realizing that the commission wanted me to help them get money. Anyway, I said, you guys, it's in the report. I read the 100 pages, and my dad famously loves to tell me the story that you looked at Congress and you said, you probably didn't have a chance to read all 100 pages, but I did. Yes. I said, and it wasn't in the executive summary, and it's true, it wasn't in their executive summary. Middle school is the time when girls start to lose confidence in math. That's when it drops off. It's middle school. It's too late by college. By college, they've already dropped out of math. So I really took this seriously, and I took an oath, and I was going to tell the truth, and it didn't occur to me that I was going against the people who had brought me out there. But that's okay, and they didn't get the money either. But I said, math needs better PR. We need to help these girls. We also need stronger middle school teachers because so many of them are thrown into a situation that they're not ready for. You know, they were the gym teacher or the such and such teacher, and because we don't have enough money for middle school math teachers, we're not attracting enough good talent. So this is where we need to put our emphasis. And I pledged to Congress that day, I will do everything I can to get math better PR. So that I feel like I'm in a unique position to do so, and this is what I pledged to you. So yes, right here in Washington, D.C., this is the beginning. This was the genesis of McKellar Math when I made that pledge to Congress back in 2000. So, thank you. It was right here in this city. And then a few years later, I wrote my first book. It was called, and I think it's okay to say this. Can I say this title? I can say the title of my book. Math Doesn't Suck. Maria didn't want to say it in my intro. Look, I'm appealing to middle school kids, okay? Math Doesn't Suck. How to survive middle school math without losing your mind or breaking a nail. And the whole point was, look, math is not just for boys. Math can be for everyone. You can be smart and savvy and yes, a fabulous, glamorous girl if that's what you want. You don't have to choose one or the other. So that became my platform for a while. It was my pledge to Congress. This is what I'm going to do, give math better PR, and I'm going to focus mostly on girls. And I did that for my middle school books. So that's Math Doesn't Suck, which teaches fractions, decimals, percents, things like that. Kiss My Math, which is pre-algebra. And there's Hot X, Algebra Exposed. That is the algebra book. And then Girls Get Curves, Geometry Takes Shape for high school geometry. So those are those books. And they were New York Times bestsellers. They still sell really well. I'm super proud of them. And they're both math books that teach math using really fun analogies and also self-esteem building books. They're books where I say, look, you can do this. You know, a diamond is formed under pressure. When math gets hard, when you think you can't do it and you struggle with it and you stick with it anyway, and then you finally solve it, this is what I call a math high. It's you teach yourself that you're stronger and smarter than you thought. And that is a gift that you give yourself that nobody can give you except for you, and nobody can take away. Thank you. Building that kind of self-confidence that comes from feeling smart, that doesn't come from the outside world, that doesn't come from the clothes you're wearing or the makeup or how many selfies you take or how many likes you have on Instagram. All that stuff is fun and it's superficial. It's not going to give you that feeling inside that you need to survive in this world, because life is challenging in so many ways. In so many ways that you don't see on social media. The everyday stuff is tough, right? When you're a kid, I see a lot of kids in the middle, in the front here, in these lovely bean bags. Why don't I have a bean bag? I want a bean bag. You have to be in math class anyway, right? You have to be in math class, right? Okay. So math happens to be a great place to sharpen your brain. It's just a great opportunity. And since you have to be there anyway, why not use that opportunity to sharpen your brain for real and get stronger and smarter? Because those tools will help you no matter what you do in your life, for real. Listen to what I say. So those are the books for girls. Then I had parents, can we write books for boys? Can you go younger? And I'm thinking, okay, yeah, maybe younger. At the time, so I had my son, he was 1 year old, and I said, you guys, I'm taking a break from writing because I want to spend time with my little guy. And I did. And then a few years later, once he became a little more independent, I started writing again. And I answered the call of the parents, which is, okay, we'll do some co-ed books and we'll go younger. What I didn't realize was that math was about to change. And for these like little kids, okay, how many of you guys are aware of Common Core math? Yes. How many of you guys are like, why did they change math? Yeah, why? It's not necessarily that it's bad, it's just why. Well, I actually think there are some good things about Common Core math, I do. There are some good things, but it does make the math itself look more complicated. So parents are saying to me, I don't know how to help my 6 and 7-year-old with their math homework. How did this happen? You know, and I agree. As parents, you figure, okay, I want to help my kid in any way I can, and someday the math might get so hard that I won't be able to do it. Luckily, getting a degree in math, I saved myself from that one. But it's very common, right? Because math is the kind of thing, if you don't practice it, you'll forget it. So how many of you guys have kids that age, 6 and 7-ish, and you've already run into that issue? Where you're like, why does this look different? Yeah. So I couldn't believe that there isn't, and Common Core started, I believe, around 2011, and then I think it was implemented throughout states at different rates. But I couldn't believe there wasn't a resource that helps parents and kids with the new way it's taught. So I did that. That's this book. Do not open this math book. This is for ages 6 to 8. It addresses the addition and subtraction in the new way they teach it. So there's all sorts of new vocabulary. In fact, at the end of the book, I have the new math translation guide for grown-ups. Because they don't call it borrowing and carrying anymore. Because you're not technically borrowing it because you're not going to give it back. Okay, fine. But the carrying, I actually think, is not bad. I don't know why they changed that one. But now it's regrouping and ungrouping. Some people call ungrouping and regrouping. There's not even uniform. But anyway, I break it down and I make it super fun. And like all my books, the point is, let's make this fun. Let's make it accessible and doable. And so there's all sorts of cartoons, and Mr. Mouse is the guy. Mr. Mouse is the one who's afraid of math. He's the one saying, don't open this book. You got a copy. So there are comics. There's also little cartoons where a parent and child can read it together. Draco, my son, and I, we like doing that. He likes reading the Mr. Mouse character. Mr. Mouse is always causing trouble. So why not teach math in the context that kids are going to respond to, right? Why not? We have choices, and why not make that choice? So that is Do Not Open This Math Book. I've also got little kid books, Goodnight Numbers, which, by the way, I was so excited. Yesterday, I got to read Goodnight Numbers at the Library of Congress. It was such a huge honor, and they live streamed the event. It was just awesome. I'm so grateful. That was really neat. You never know. Also, Goodnight Numbers is Sesame Street did a video. Elmo and Bob read Goodnight Numbers. You can find it on YouTube. I was like so impressed. So Goodnight Numbers is having a nice time right now, and I'm very proud of the book. That's for little kids. That's, you know, going from 1 to 10 as you get ready for bed. It shows different families getting ready for bed and counting along the way. So and I know we're going to open it to questions in a few minutes, right? If you guys have any questions, I'll talk for just a few more minutes, and then if you have questions, there are 2 microphones here. I think I have somewhere between 5 and 10 minutes left, because I saw the 10-minute marker a bit ago. If you have any questions, line up, and let me see if there's anything else I want to tell you guys about specifically. Your parents ask me, you know, what advice do you have? What advice do you have for my kids to keep them interested in math, to just help them in general, besides any instruction? And there are a couple things that I say to parents. One is, from the earliest time you possibly can, point out math in the real world. Just demonstrate. It could be shopping at the grocery store, and you're showing, you know, if you buy 3 pounds of turkey and it costs, I don't know, $5 a pound. Show them multiplication in the real world. Show it around them, or show them the same thing in reverse with division. If we've got this much money and it costs this much per pound, how many pounds can we buy? Just show them how it's actually all around us all the time, because it is amazing to me how many people say, when am I ever going to use math in real life? It's like, what about money? Money makes the world go round. And math is the language of money. I spoke to an inner city school in Michigan several years ago, and it was 50% below the poverty line. And I remember this audience looking at me like, what are you going to tell me, woman? And I won them over when I said, hey, you guys, the better you are at math, the less likely you are to get ripped off. And by the way, how many of you guys want to start a business? Ever thought of starting your own business? Math, you have? Oh yeah, okay, well how many of you guys have ever thought of starting your own business? Yes, you have? Yeah, it's great. Owning your own business is empowering. You're not working for somebody else. But guess what? Guess what's going to keep the doors open? Math, yes. Because there are a lot of really talented people out there who are artists, or they have great ideas for businesses, but guess what? They don't know how to manage their own money. Why? Maybe because they avoided math as a child. And if you're afraid of math as a child, you're going to avoid numbers as an adult. You're just going to avoid them. And that gets you in trouble. And now I have 5 minutes. I've got more than 5 minutes of questions. Oh, no. Okay, one last little story. Well, no, I'll tell a story at the very end. Okay. Yes. Uh-oh, mic's not on.
Oh, hi.
Hi.
I wanted to ask about your writing process, about how long does it take you to write one book, and if you kind of have little guinea pigs to test out, to make sure that people are understanding what you're writing on the book?
Yes. Well, the books take a few years to write because of the illustrator and all that approval process. My son is 7. I homeschool him, so I test stuff out on him, but I also have teachers read them, because I'm not in the classroom, and I want to make sure that all the research that I'm doing actually is applying, and I get so much wonderful information. I talk to teachers before I even start writing the books. Then I write a draft, then I send it out to a bunch of teachers. We talk about stuff. Yeah, for sure. Yes, this side.
Okay, go for it. Tell us.
Wait.
Tell us that you love your MC Squared.
I love you in MC Squared.
Thank you so much. Oh, thank you. There's a show on Netflix called Project MC Squared, and I play the mom of the main character, but I'm also the head of the super secret spy organization comprised of only women, and I play the quail, and I use a voice like this. And I say, girls, your next mission is whatever it is. Go find that guy who stole the diamond, It's really fun.
She also wanted to tell you that we do this kind of math in her Montessori school. So
Oh,
thank you
wonderful.
for bringing it to everybody.
My pleasure. Thank you. Yes.
Hi.
Hello.
I also just wanted to say thank you, because I had a really horrible middle school math experience, and you taught me geometry and algebra, and now I'm a TA at my university in the math department.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing. Oh, I love that. I love those stories, you guys. That makes me so happy. Thank you.
So hi, I'm actually the opposite. I'm actually a mathophile, so
Love
I
it.
love math and science. I'm wondering more, when are you going to go through and go under your curves for calculus?
Calculus. I would really enjoy writing a calculus book. If I go older, I'd probably jump to that. I probably wouldn't do the trigonometry pre-calc. I'd probably jump to calculus. So maybe someday, because that would be a lot of fun. Yes?
Hi. What inspired you to become the quail in Project MC Squared?
So before it was on Netflix, Project MC Squared was being produced by a show called Awesomeness TV, and they didn't have any money yet, and they were super little. They didn't know what they were doing, and they actually reached out to me and they said, "We think that you'd be so great for this role because it's a super strong woman." The whole show is about using STEM, math and science, to solve crimes. And so I was thrilled that they chose me. I was like, yes. My manager's like, they're not paying you enough. I'm like, I don't care. Once Netflix got involved, they paid better. But I was so happy to be part of the project from the beginning and to help them get off the ground, because I was like, this show is Charlie's Angels for teenage girls, but they use math and science, and they're super glamorous too. It's so cute. You guys should check it out if you haven't seen it. Do we have 2 minutes? Okay, yes.
How many pages did it take you to read?
What? How many pages?
How long did it take you to the 100? 100-page book report?
I can't understand. I'm sorry, what?
She wanted to ask, how long did it take you to read the 100-page report?
How long does it take me to read a 100-page book?
The 100-page report.
Oh, gosh. I mean, this was 18 years ago. 18 years ago, but I spent weeks with it. I don't know that it took me that long to read it, but I spent weeks with it and researching it. I just graduated from UCLA, so I was in like study mode. I was super all over it. Yeah, I don't remember, but I spent a lot of time with it, probably way more time than they thought I was going to. 1 minute. Any other kids left that wanted to ask a question?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Oh, shoot, okay. Super quick. Okay, wait, in the meantime, do you have one?
What was the hardest type of math?
The hardest type of math that I ever took was probably real analysis in college, where you prove the calculus theorems that you learn in your first 2 years. But it was also my favorite. But part of why I liked math was because it was so challenging. Because I was like, oh, there's no way I'm going to be able to do this. And I'm like, oh, that sounds like a challenge. I wonder if I can. I approach a lot of life like this. There was this song that Tom Lehrer wrote called The Elements. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? You do? So I memorized this song when I was 11 years old because my dad said this would be impossible to learn this song. And I was like, yeah, it really would be. And sure enough, he helped me. We wrote it all out because there was no internet back then. So you couldn't just find the lyrics online, and I learned it. Challenges are great. They're great for you. When you see a challenge, instead of being like, oh no, be like, yay, I get to challenge myself now, because you got to enjoy challenges. Learn to enjoy challenges. Learn to embrace them, because they're going to keep happening your entire life in all categories of life. And one last thing I'm going to say to wrap this up is when people say that math can't help you in life, okay, I just want to tell a story. You never know. Look, I'm leaning forward again. Psychological. So, have you guys ever heard of a film festival called the Sundance Film Festival? It's in Utah. Robert Redford started it a long time ago, and now it's this big thing. It used to be for independent films, now it's for like big films. Anyway, many years ago, shortly after I had graduated from UCLA, and by the way, while I was there, I was a tutor, a calculus tutor in the math department. I love calculus, I really do. It's a great course, you guys should all take it. So I tutored many people there while I was there, and I graduated, and I went to this film festival because I had a short film that I'd produced and directed and everything, and that was a lot of fun. Its own kind of challenge. And they have these parties, these legendary parties at Sundance, where you can't get into these parties. Like, there are these lines. I don't know how people actually get into the parties, but I got in line for one of these parties, and I had some friends with me, and I saw bigger name celebrities than me in front of me and behind me in line, and I'm thinking, okay, well, we're not getting in. The bouncer spotted me and said, hey, Danica. I'm like, he goes, it's John, come here. I'm like, people are looking like, who do you know? And I'm walking up there and he goes, it's John. You saved me in calculus at UCLA in the tutoring department. Get your friends and get in here. It was so great. Anyway, the point is, math is powerful. Math makes you powerful. People are in awe of math, and they are in awe of people who are good at math. For some reason. Why? It's a foreign language, and it can be challenging. But if you are the kind of person who embraces challenges, that will serve you for the rest of your life. So embrace those challenges. Doing math is like sharpening your brain. It will get you better at math and all kinds of other challenges. So please, don't shy away from math, you guys. It's going to be great for you. You're going to chisel your brain like an artist would a sculpture, and that will serve you and be there for you for the rest of your life. Thank you so much. I look forward to signing books for you at 11 o'clock. Thank you.